one last non-conference weekend. So what do you want to see and maybe need to see from your team before Big Ten play starts?
Yeah, I think we just need to see a constant build, right? We got some good tests this weekend, and one went our way, and the other one, didn't. And we learned from Friday night and thought it made us play better on Saturday. But I told the team you can't have too many of those lapses. And, teams are going to push back, and we have to be able to respond back when they do so. So, like I said, we saw it on Saturday night. Wish I would have saw it on Friday too. But it's about learning from the next and just being better every single time we play on the floor, because you're going to only get one shot in a lot of these teams. I mean, that's the biggest message that I've been sending. And so these preseason games, you see them on film, you get a feel for them in set one, set two, and it's those teams that can make adjustments and continue to make adjustments are going to come out ahead. So it becomes a big deal that you're going to see a lot of these battles, and we have to continually kind of figure out how to respond if teams push back or if teams switch up, or we need to keep doing what we're doing, and so on and so forth. So I think that's the biggest thing, is we always want to see improvement, sort of pass defense, attack balls, everything that obviously goes into scoring points. But we have to be able to respond well as a team when good teams are pushing on us.
This non-conference season is a little more important because of a bigger Big Ten. You're not going to maybe get a second chance against a handful of teams.
Yeah, I mean, your record's always important, right? And it's, I think, again, the biggest thing is just learning how to handle those teams, one match at a time, and being really good on the scout and being really good at making adjustments. And so the conference as a whole is doing great in pre-conference play. And so, like always, we just expect that here in this last weekend against these next two non-cons. And then once we head in the conference, it's just going to be a battle night in and night out. And so every match is important. We try to do our best to go one match at a time, not look too far ahead. But we know what we got to do.
What do you think Missouri and Lipscomb, what kind of challenge will that be for the last non-Big Ten?
Yeah, another two good teams that are consistently at the top of their conferences. And so it's, Mizzou's very much like ourselves, big, strong, physical. Lipscomb, tends to be a little bit smaller, but they're very good volleyball players, and they always cause teams problems. So we got to play our best both matches, and we got to finish out this weekend strong before heading into conference play.
To make a change at Vero, what did you feel like maybe that gave you? Because obviously they're both still going to play, but it's just the roles switch.
Yeah. We're constantly analyzing numbers and what it looks like in certain rotations, and we just felt that the change had to be made. And Lawrence has done great for us. We continue to evaluate the position. We're always going to do that with every position on the floor. And so we just felt it was time to make a change, and Christy stepping in that role. And she's got a lot of experience there coming from her previous school too. So we know it wasn't going to be something like a big shock for her. So the teams handled it well. And I thought she played well there both nights. So we'll continue to look at it as always, but it's an important position to have on the floor.
What's Christy maybe shown you through the matches? Obviously you had a pretty good idea of what she could do, but have you learned anything more about her?
Yeah, I think we do a lot about her, having played her several times, previous years. But she brings a ton of energy. She brings a ton of passion to the floor and outwardly too. I think sometimes that can be a big deal when our sport specifically can kind of ride in waves. We want some consistency out there in that respect, and so I think she really does a nice job of having really good emotional control on the floor and being able to bring a lot of energy when it's needed.
Back to that meeting, what happened between the first and second sets that maybe saw your team lose grip of things?
I think they stepped up their service game a little bit, and we didn't respond. I think the first set we controlled it fairly well from the service line, and then it just kind of went the other way. And it's similar to how it went the other way on Saturday night too. We had a battle in that first set, and we lost the second. But I just think our response back on Saturday saw the scores, was better than Friday night. And Dayton is a good team. They're a top 25 team for a reason. They're a very experienced group, and they've got some good pieces. But I didn't like that we let so many leads get too far ahead, and against the better teams, you just can't do that. So we got to respond to pressure whenever it's on us, and we got to make sure we can stick with the scout in some ways and be able to score points when they're there when we have to, obviously.
It was a lot more online on Saturday than it was on Friday. Maybe what changed for that green light?
Yeah, she's got the green light all the time. Sometimes when you ever step into those games, it just becomes a feel thing. And the misses that she had on Friday were other than one serve, it was a good miss. But obviously, I talked to the team about that. We had a lot of good misses on Friday. It was just too many of them, right? And that's going to happen. And so we got to play this risk-reward game. And she's one of them where, we just talked about, hey, your 80% is also pretty good. So making sure, just make sure we got management in our mind too. And it's tough because you don't want her to completely back off because she has the ability to score a lot of points in bunches. And so that she's got to find that balance though, just like every player does from the service line or attacking or whatever it might be.
What difference has Avery made in her first 8 matches for you?
Yeah, she's done great. She's been in 6 rotations. I'm not sure we even expected that, but just through fall practices, competition, preseason practices, she's one of our better passers. And so if she remains that, she kind of stays on the floor in that 6 rotation capacity. But she's been doing great, and she finds different ways to score. She doesn't have a huge arm like Raina does in terms of speed, but she can move the ball around. She knows when to mix in shots. She knows how to use the block. It can be frustrating on a defense when you can do that.
What do you think's maybe allowed her to step into a bigger role for you? 'Cause, I mean, she obviously played for Northwestern last year, but maybe not quite as much and maybe not as prominent.
Yeah, she played, towards the end of her career there, she played all the way around too. And so she has that experience, and that goes a long way, right? It's easy to kind of see it here in practice with a lot of players, but until you get in front of the lights, and, you get asked by the famous Scott Ritchie for an interview and all that stuff, it can be tough, right? So we got to make sure that, again, every player needs that experience, and that's the tough part where she's got it, and she's able to handle a lot of those situations. She might have a few bad plays here and there, but that's every player, and she's really good about responding and sticking with it. And so we still try to get other players on the floor to make sense, but right now she's playing pretty good.
How is she compared to what you might have expected preseason?
Yeah, I mean, great. I mean, like I said, we're going to play how we practice, and I think we've been practicing well, and she's one of them that's done. She's pretty consistent. I mean, across the board. She's not going to, like I said, she's not going to wow you with some flashy stuff, but she does everything pretty consistent in all of her skill sets.
Raina said that Avery came in a little quiet, but then once maybe practices started for her, like the voice came out a little bit, the leadership. Just what have you seen from her in that regard?
Yeah, she's competitive, and I think when competitive players get out there, they're not going to stay quiet, right? They want to win. They want to do stuff at a high level. I always say this arena is our alter ego, and it doesn't mean that they're loud and boisterous off the court. It just means when we're on, we're competitive and we're in the arena, so to speak. And she does a good job of doing that.
Height isn't everything in this sport, but against Illinois State and against Dayton, you guys struggled against some shorter hitters. Sort of, what have you seen from them, maybe that made them harder to defend?
They're just good. I mean, it's a weird game. I mean, I can tell you that, right? And it's just one of those things where it doesn't matter about height. It's a skill set thing too, right? They get good at doing one thing because they might be smaller or they might have different ability. You use the block more. You can move the ball around more. It's just stuff like that. So those players just challenge you differently, and so we got to be ready to respond to those challenges. We worked on some of that today because we know we're going to face some in terms of Lipscomb, but. There's lots of good players out there. It's just you got to figure out how to slow them down and stop them, and that's pretty much it.
Anything else?
Good. Thank you.